Hello and welcome to Dear DSA, and I'm your host BAMISAYE Victor. I want to welcome you specially today, and it's always a very pleasant time having this program and having you guys around. So I will just go straight to Facebook to see those who have joined us, and in the meantime, I'm also welcoming all our guests from YouTube and every other platform you may get to watch this now or later. So, but on Facebook, where I can access now, I can see Jude Beko, I can see Catherine Nakoronis. You're very much welcome. I believe so many other people too are coming in who Facebook is not showing me right now. I can see Angela Oyoshiora, Isaac Thomas. You guys are so much welcome. So just go ahead and say your hello and don't forget that on this program we'd like you to be as engaging as possible. We want to hear your views. And when the time is right, we would also open the line for you to call in, and so you can share your contribution about the topic that we'll be discussing today. I can see Mr. MJ Folakemi. I can see Adeleke Adeniyi, Gbemi David, Theophilus Moyewa, Simon Ajet, Utibe Bengozin. You're very much welcome. Honorable Olarewaju Moses. Charles Adeniji, you're very much welcome, sir. All right, so I guess we just run straight to the main topic that we'll be discussing today. And probably you're already seeing it on your screen. The question is, who is responsible for poverty in Nigeria? Is it the state, is it the local, or is it the federal government? As of late last year, on the World Poverty Index, which calculates the percentage of people in a particular country who are in poverty, Nigeria overtook India as the number one, number one with the highest poverty index rate. And what that means is that even though India has close to 1 billion population, they are doing very well, and they've been doing that for many years now, trying to bring so many people out of poverty. But Nigeria, on the other hand, it seems that every day more Nigerians are slipping into poverty. And of course, I do say that all I've known all my life, especially while I was in Nigeria, is poverty. But with the way social media is now, and everybody can we can get more data, and data is easily accessible, information is easily accessible. The trend seems to be that more people are falling into poverty by the day. So, but the question is now, who is responsible for that state? Or possibly, out of these three, who is more responsible for the state of poverty in Nigeria? And joining me to discuss this program, to discuss this topic, is my friend and my colleague on this show every week, Dr. Sunday Adelaja. You're very much welcome, sir. It's always a pleasure talking with you on these topics. And I believe if you go through the comments, people are always amazed at how much you know in terms of all-round general knowledge. You somehow are not you're not restricted to some certain field. You know so well, and you are very vast, and that's something that is quite amiable, and many people always say that on the show. But today we'll be talking about who is responsible for poverty in Nigeria. So I don't know if you have some opening statement to that before we go into specifics.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think when they talk about Nigeria being the poorest, the capital of poverty, or the poorest country in the world now, what they are talking about really is not that we've not always been having poverty.
Yeah.
Which you are right when you say the only thing you knew growing up in Nigeria was poverty. If you are going to call your own poverty, what will you call my own?
No, maybe that was penury.
People like your own family and even your own standard of life. Those were the things we used to envy from the distance. Mm-hmm. So someone like me, I mean, at least you had shoes, and you went to a regular school where they had probably doors, or they had windows in that your school, or they had blackboard. I didn't have anything like that. So that's poverty. And maybe you saw library when you were in your country, in Nigeria, and, or maybe you even had laboratory. But I never had any privilege of that, of such. So when you say the only thing you knew in Nigeria when growing up was poverty, I said, make no talk, because your poverty was nothing compared to, there were worse poverty than what you knew.
Of course.
There are worse ones. So the country has always been poor, and our people have always been living in poverty. But when they say that we are the capital of poverty, and what they are actually talking about is the sheer number of people, quantity-wise, who are presently living on less than $1 a day, or on $1 a day. That is before because China and India, they are bigger than us in population. So naturally, they have more people who are poor as us. Maybe not as poor as us, but who are as poor in that. Not percentage-wise. Percentage-wise, our own has always been bigger. Yes, but in the amount of people, because of their sheer number, they had more people like that. So, but because they are doing a lot of work to limit that, so it means if we have 100 million people now they said it's 102, 103 million living in poverty, it means that they now have, even though they are big, but they now have less than 100 million, both China and India, living in extreme poverty, whereby because of our population growing all the time, it means just by the fact that our population is growing all the time, it's just natural that, and our economy is not growing as fast. Right. So it means the same people who have been poor, now more people are like them in our country. So that's what they are talking about. And that is a problem, that the majority of our people are poor. And I'm happy that we are talking about this topic, because I saw an article today where Vice President himself, VP Oshibajo, was talking about the same problem. He gave an interview today, and he said what is giving him as Vice President sleepless nights is the poverty rate of our people. How many of our people are living in abject poverty? So thank God that is their concern as well. At least there is one person in government who has voiced this out, that this is a problem to them as well. So this is something that we have to talk about. You see, I wrote a book about this, the Nigerian economy, the way forward. According to this book, what I've written in this book, if Nigerian government will follow it, we could make Nigeria to become in the top 10 economies of the world. But somebody has to implement these things. So we're just praying that God will help the government of Buhari to pick the right people who will be able to manage the economy well, and will be able to carry out the dream of President Buhari. Because for the first time in our history, the question of poverty was addressed at the inaugural speech of the president. And he gave a concrete goal for himself, target for themselves and their party, that they want to bring out 100 million people out of poverty. So if we bring out 100 million people out of poverty, of course, we're not counting the ones that will be born and the ones that will grow into at least as of now, if we are 103 people living, or 109 or something, living in poverty. So it means if they take 100 out, it will only be left with about 9. So it means they have at least the vision and the dream of doing that. I personally, I just see that as empty talk personally, because I know that they have good intention. At least it's a compliment that they have the intention. But before I believe them, I need to see the program. I need to see the strategy. I need to see the tactics. I need to see the methodology that they are going to apply to be able to do 100 million. 100 million is not a joke. 100 million. I mean, in all our independence, we have not been able to bring 100 million out of poverty, talk less of in 10 years. So they will have to, the economy will have to grow at the same rate as it was growing during Obasanjo regime. The economy has to grow at least the average of 7-10% for them to attain that goal. How we are going to do that when right now we're only having 2.5 growth rate, and then the population is growing even faster. Mm-hmm. So I think that someone like Buhari doesn't speak empty words. But I think he said advisors just gave him that figure. Maybe they have argued
No, they
it
said
out for him.
in 10 years.
In 10 years, yeah. So which means every year they will be bringing. I mean, they were there for 4 years. They were only able to create 2 million jobs, according to them.
Yeah.
But opposition said they didn't even create any job, that we lost 4 million or what that opposition is saying. So I don't even know of that right now. But they were not able to bring anybody out of poverty because we were 97 million.
No, they actually did.
But they did, but because of the rate of growth.
Yeah, because as of
so
Jonathan's regime, there were 112.
Yeah, 112.
So if they are now saying it's 109 or it was 98,
it was
thereabout.
98.
Yeah. So
and now it has grown to 109 again.
109.
Yeah.
So you see that with the way the population is growing, it means they're actually doing something. But the population, like you are saying, the population is growing faster than the economy is growing. Than the economy is growing.
Yeah. So I was thinking, how would they then do 10 million every year? So that is what I want to see, their strategy of doing that. Because if they have been able to create 2 million jobs in 4 years, they will have to create much more than that. Because job creation is even easier than bringing people out of poverty. You know, because the fact that you are working doesn't mean you are not poor. You can still be working and still be poor. But to bring you out of poverty, it means you are not just working. You are making some money that is satisfactory. So at least, but thank God they are talking about it.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's a good time to start going into specifics now, before we even go into government and federal government. What role do you think, or let me say to what degree, because there is no denying about the role, but to what degree do you think this population that is not controlled is leading people into poverty? Do you think it's to a high degree? Do you even think that no matter what government, states or federal do, if population is not controlled, their work will never show?
That is a very interesting question. It's so dicey that I must put my thoughts together here. Okay. If to go the easy way, of course, the best thing to do would be to just control the economy, the population, and, you know, limit the number of children in a family, at least to 3. 3 will be justifiable, not 1 like China.
Yeah.
But you know, but that is a lazy solution as well. It's a lazy solution, but you have to bring out, if you don't want that solution, for where we are in Nigeria right now, that is the best solution. Why I call it a lazy solution is that we need creativity and ingenuity to bring out a better solution. So what is the better solution for us if we don't want to stop the population, we want to limit the population growth by family? Then we have to come out with some ingenuity, some creativity, innovative solution to that. So what is that solution? The way I see it right now, just you asked me the question, I didn't expect it. So the way I see solution to that problem is this. We need to make sure, okay, why did I first of all say the best thing for us to do now is to limit the population growth? Because that is it, even though I call it a lazy solution. But the way Nigeria is right now, where we are right now, that's the best thing to do. The only justifiable argument for us not to limit the population growth by family is for us to, first of all, have grown up to maximize, you know, there are a lot of factors. If we want to keep on growing the way we are growing, and we think that, you know, that will be okay, the only thing to do is this. Number one, any economy like America doesn't want to limit growth. They want to rather have more people coming, and they want to keep on growing. Why are they not afraid of growth? Why is Europe not afraid of growth? Right now, even China, that limited the growth of children, their number of children by family to 1, that same country, China, now is losing the law. The law has been removed. Why? There is a reason behind it. When China was in a state like our own, they took that decision to ban and limit the number of children. Because at that point, when they took that number, they had not done some things. They had not put some things in place to be able to welcome more children. So that's when I said, that's why I say it would have been the best thing for us to do now. But if that's about, it's a lazy decision still. So what is a much more bold, what is a much more difficult decision that will entail boldness and audacity and ingenuity? What are those solutions? Number one, the problem that we have is not the population as such. Population could be an advantage, but in our own case, it's not an advantage. Why is it not an advantage? It's just like saying you, as an individual, you have 2 legs and you have 2 hands. But your one hand and your one leg have not been used. You've never used them. You've only been using one hand the rest of your life. Or maybe you are 25 or 35 and you have only used one hand. And the other one, because of lack of use, it has become redundant. And it has become, paralyzed. Yeah. And the same thing with the leg. So you have one leg and one hand. So that is the state where our country is right now. In that case, when your hand is paralyzed, one leg is paralyzed, then they are a burden to your body. That hand becomes a burden. That leg becomes a burden. That is what we have in Nigeria right now. But for us not to limit the population growth, there are a few things that we have to do. The greatest advantage of large population is that large population, you can only have large population. There are a few conditions. One of them is it's only allowed for you to have large population as long as everybody there is productive. Only if everyone in that population, apart from the disabled and children and the senior citizens, but every workforce and the working age, if all of them are productive, then large population is rather an advantage. If it's going to be 5 billion or 10 billion, it's going to still be an advantage. But in a situation like ours, when even 50% or 40% of our whole population cannot even read and write, it is a burden that is crushing. But when I say read and write, the 60% or the 50% that we say can read and write, they are only the ones who can read and write, either in their own language, Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, or English. So anybody that can read and write anything, we call them they are literate. So let's cancel and remove those ones who are literate anyhow, because the Agbero guy also is literate. The thugs in the street are literate. The people who can just read and write are literate. And people like that are the majority in our country. So out of that 50% that is educated, that we say is literate, I think about 30% of them, comfortably we consider, 30% are just the people who are able to read English, write English, write Yoruba, they are the native tongue, read it, but they are not, maybe they have not gone beyond primary education.
They're not intellectuals.
They are not productive in their mind. They are not using their mind to produce. They are using their works to produce, not their mind. And as long as you are not using your mind to produce, but you are working with your hand, manual work, you are not contributing. Yeah, you are limited, too limited. So the percentage of people who are using their mind to produce and contribute to the national economy in Nigeria will not be maximum 20%. So how can 20% of a nation be carrying the weight of 80%? Which means 20% is just like 40 million people in Nigeria are the ones who are really working hard and contributing. And then,
I'm not even. That's a generous.
Very generous.
very generous.
I don't think we have 40 million people who are as
intellectual.
Yes, like in America, so that they will be on the level of America or Europe. I don't think we have 40.
We shouldn't.
Yeah, because that 20 million that I said, they are just the ones who are literate enough. So, maybe they finish secondary school or something. But the ones that are really academic, let's say higher education, intellectual, it might not be it might not be more than 5% in Nigeria. So,
because there was a principle you gave at a point in time that a nation only needs 10% of its
for workforce.
Of its population to be those intellectuals. And if a nation has just that 10%, they are good to go. And
so I think
you said even Nigeria, then we don't have 1%.
Yes, I think we don't even have more than maximum 5%.
People who are thinkers, who are productive, who can drive the rest
economy,
of the labor force.
And so we are very much behind. But if we say, okay, it's a lazy solution to just stop the population growth, then what do? If I were in charge, in Nigeria, or if I had a voice in Nigeria, what I would do is that I would set a goal that between 2 to 5 years, everybody in Nigeria will be literate. 2 to 5 years is enough for me and for Nigeria if we are serious and purposeful and driven. In 5 years, we can make everybody literate in Nigeria, 99% literacy. If we could do that, then the next thing we need to do is to make sure that we target human capital development. Because literacy is not yet human capital development. Though. That is just the grammar school philosophy they gave also. Because literacy, in the way the colonial masters taught us, is for them to be able to produce for themselves slaves, servants, messengers, people who will be able to understand them. So when they give instruction, they just need a slave. So they just set up schools for us to have grammar schools to be able to be literate. And so in our country up to today, it is still that parameter that they are using to measure, intellectualism in our place, for you to be literate, education. So the meaning of education in Nigeria now is that you are literate.
Can speak English.
Maybe you cannot even speak English, but at least you can read and write. That is literacy in our place, which is rubbish. So that parameter really needs to be reviewed and really need to be removed entirely, that just to be able to read and write. So we need to remove that, but at least we have to start from there. So we in 2 years, 3 years time, 5 years maximum, we should make our whole country to be literate, number one. But then the second most interesting challenge, which is much more difficult than just banning population growth and limiting the amount of children in family. That is easy way to do it. Why they are not doing it, I don't even know. But they are not doing that one, which is easy, and they are not doing the one that is more difficult, making the whole country literate. Then after making the whole country literate, the next thing we're supposed to do, like I said, is to target human capital development. What does that mean? Human capital development is dependent on the ratio of productivity that every person gives and add to the GDP, to the national economy. So we must be able to target a situation whereby at least 80% of our population is adding. We know we can measure their productivity. We can measure their contribution to the economy. We know that they are capable, they are working, they are teachers, they are doctors, they are nurses, they are technical workers, they are laborers, they are paying tax. And then number 3 thing we have to do after that. So the second thing, the first thing is, bring out literacy to the country. Second thing is human capital development. The third thing we have to do is to make sure that Nigeria begins to function like any other country in the world, any other developed country. Any country that is developed in this world functions by tax returns. Tax policy has to be universal in Nigeria if we really want to sustain the economy and one day economy to be sustainable. No economy in developed world is dependent on oil or natural resources. No, it's tax. Most economies in the world is tax driven. But until we put that in place, the economy the population we have right now will only be a burden to us. Do you know that till very recently, only 6% of Nigerians pay tax? And this one, I'm not talking about Nigerians, individuals. So, the one that 6%. Those are the ones who have factories and companies and registered something. 6%. 6%. I mean, all of us were just working up. We are just playing the park.
And even the ones that are paying are underpaying.
They are underpaying. They are paying like 1%. Now they have taken it to 15%. But then there are still 350,000 companies. I'm not talking of the individuals. So almost 500,000 companies in Nigeria that are registered making big money. I'm not talking about the petty traders. I'm talking about the ones who are registered with CAC. I'm talking about the ones who are really making money, at least more than in these companies that they are talking about. They are companies that are making more than a few millions. So their revenue a year will be more than 10 million. And all these people, 350,000 companies are not paying tax in Nigeria at all. Talk less of individuals. Individual forget. Everybody just enjoy his own life. Say, I'm already poor. What did the country give me? So until we put that in place, our population will always be a burden. So maybe before we are able to put all those things in place, maybe we should put that policy of just limiting the amount, like China did it. When they were not productive, they put that policy of limiting the amount of children by family. Now that they have become very productive, they now release and the economy can sustain it now.
Yeah. I think I also agree with that line of thought. Because like you have rightly argued, the advantage that population gives is labor. And if there is nothing to do, then the population becomes a burden on its own. So, you know, what would have ordinarily been an asset now becomes a burden. It becomes something that is not an asset, there's a name they call it.
Liability.
Liability. So the population has now become a liability. And if you look at, especially in the north, where the population is really high.
And that's where they don't do anything. They will just sit there in the front like this. And they will be by the mosque or by the rich people's houses waiting for some gifts.
It will be a shock, DSA, to many people listening right now, that, you know, in Osun State, that's Rauf Aregbesola when he was governor.
Yes, sir.
He was accused of not paying salary for a long time. Of course, he did what they call modulated salary.
Okay.
So there was a lot of bad media about him, that he was useless, he was this and that.
Yeah.
But do you know, even Osun State was one of the first 5 in the most prosperous states in Nigeria, even though he was not paying salary.
Yes, even up to now, it's like the one,
first 2,
it's
actually.
the first 3 or right now.
So what was happening, even though he had inherited a lot of backlog of pensioners and a whole lot of stuff, but there were certain things that really has affected that. If you come to the West, in the West, people seems to give birth moderately. Not, at least not as much as that, and there's some economic activities going on somehow, because there was a data that I saw that took Lagos out. Lagos was taken out of Southwest, but the economy of Southwest altogether, apart from Lagos, was even 2 times bigger than that of Southeast. Up 1.5 rather, 1.5 times bigger than that of Southeast. That's even without Lagos. So you can imagine what having a moderate economy, but that is productive to a certain extent, would do. So of the opinion, yes, that if we would be driving any point home towards reducing poverty, there is no way as of now that Nigeria can avoid the idea of birth control. Like you are saying, it's not about one child, but that birth must be controlled. But because if you are giving birth to more population that will be coming to compete for scarce resource, then of course.
But why is it that Nigeria is not doing it? It's so easy. Just write the bill and pass it.
Because of the religious and traditional mindset. For instance,
especially Islam.
Islam, number 1. Let's go to even Southeast, right? In the Southeast, I don't know if the South people do that. If you are giving birth to a girl, until you have a male child, you will still keep on giving birth.
So it could be 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you'll see people getting to 16 because they are looking for a male child. So these are people who probably, if they had that male child at number 3, they would have stopped. So that tradition now is also affected. Then you go to the north, Islam. I don't know how much polygamy has to affect, but we just must come to that discussion.
Yeah, maybe if they say they want to limit the amount of children, then it will not be per family then. It has to be per woman maybe. Or it will be per family. So the Southeast people have an answer now. if this woman cannot give birth to a boy and the limitation is 3, he will get another woman.
No, but the problem is that with
Or
that's
it has
where
to
the
be by
that's where the
by
ignorance
family.
comes in, because the sex of the baby is never determined by the woman.
Is it not the woman that they blame in Nigeria?
They blame the woman, but it's the guy who has X and Y chromosome. The woman has XX.
Yeah.
So it's the man that determines if he's donating an X chromosome or a Y chromosome. So the sex of the baby is always determined by the guy. So if you like give birth, go and marry 15 children, it's still on you. 15 wives rather, it's still on you. Give birth to 17 children, it's still on the man. So that's the ignorance of tradition and culture. Someone said tradition and culture is just peer pressure coming from the dead. So it's peer pressure of people who are already dead, of ancestors. So, but of course, we must talk about that population if we want to.
But
reduce.
it's like Nigerians are not even living it's like they are not conscious. You know, when I talk about this book, How to Be Here in the Here and Now.
Yes, sir.
It's like Nigeria as a whole, as government, or
as a nation.
As a nation, it's like they are just daydreaming. It's like they are just.
We are just moving through.
They are just autopilots.
Yeah.
They are not thinking matters through, because if they think matters through, this one is a matter of urgency for them to implement the law to limit the number of children.
Yeah, it's just a must.
They will say, even Christians say that sometimes, that the amount that God gives, what God gives or something.
Yeah, children are a mighty arrow in the hands of the mighty. Happy is the one who has them, many in his quiver. They even use religion to justify it. But of course, we cannot keep increasing population in a condition of scarce resource. That's
why the poverty level
poverty level will keep increasing. That's why crime will keep increasing, because somehow it now becomes a jungle, survival of the fittest.
I saw a video recently where they caught about maybe 4 or 5 children, and the eldest one of them is 13 years old. Others have 11, 12, 10, 9, 8. And they were stealing, they were going to people's apartments and shops at 12 o'clock midnight.
Yeah, and because
so theft has reduced in age to the level of children.
Yeah, because the society has become survival of the fittest, and that's like Animal Farm. I think How to Become a Civilized Nation. You have a book like that, and you were talking about the Animal Farm society.
Yes.
So I think that's what we've really descended into. Of course, a lot of factors to be considered, and we'll try to consider them today. But number one, that population. If no matter how much we try.
So what do you think? Why is it that it is not a national discourse?
People who are meant to discuss it are shying away from it, number one. Number two, people who could have been pressure groups are now pressure groups only on the basis of what they can get from it. Yes. So they are not going to talk about things that really matter. They're only going to talk about things where they are going to get paid from. So that's what has shifted between the 1990s and our generation now. So we really don't have activists who are activists on the basis of principles, on the basis of what they believe in. Can you imagine one of Buhari's biggest critics, APC biggest critic, was appointed to be the spokesperson of the Senate, and he accepted it. You spent 4 years abusing a particular party. They now gave you juicy position. You come, no principle, no ideology, and that's the same thing that's affecting us. So people who are meant to be driving narratives are really absent. They are really nowhere to be found, because there is no money. Everybody is trying to survive, so to say.
So that's one big factor in poverty.
A very big factor, the population.
But what about addressing the other one, the most difficult ones, like literacy, like human capital development for the country?
Yes.
And like tax issues?
Yes. You know, one of the things you have also addressed really as a person is when it comes to literacy, you are a very big proponent of why we don't need more universities. You've always talked about technical colleges. And you seem, and not even you seem, the age that we are going into is vindicating you by the day. When companies like Google, Facebook, and every other companies like that are saying, we really don't need school education anymore. It's now about skills. So, and you are talking about technical college in terms of getting skills. But of course, before we get there, we have to talk about basic, universal basic education, which is a very huge factor. Because no matter what, even before skills can be taught, language must be communicated in a certain language. And especially, let's say, certain universal languages that makes you viable to the market. And you're looking at, especially, let's say, in the North right now, where children are just being born and they become almajiris, going to work and to beg on the street, and nobody is taking care of their education. The only language they can speak is just that Hausa. They are of no use outside that community. And
can you imagine that even in the West, where they say they have education, the amount of people who don't speak English?
Yeah.
I was in Nigeria, I didn't speak English.
Yeah.
And then when I go to the bus stops, I see people like me who didn't speak English. Then in the villages, all the villages that I know around, maybe we'll have a few people who spoke English.
Yeah, there's still a high level of illiteracy.
And somebody from
Nigeria.
the East also told me
that
a lot of people don't speak English.
Yes.
In the villages. And
yes, sir, very true. As of last year, over 4 million primary school age children were out of school. The number has only started reducing with this program.
Not 4 million.
Over 4 million.
No, 13 million. 13.5 million.
No, primary school age.
Yes. 13. You can find out, Google it.
Interesting.
13.5 million. Or you Google it. Can you Google it? Yes, 13.5 million. Not 4 million. If it is 4 million, we are happy. We will be very happy. If it is 4 million, that's not a crisis at all. We are in a big soup and in a big mess. We have the highest level of out-of-school children in Nigeria, in the whole world. It used to be 10 million.
Wow,
now it has grown to 13 million, 13.5 or so.
13.2.
Primary school.
Yeah, 30.2.
You see? That is the crisis. So, can you imagine those people growing up in 10 years' time? In 10 years' time, they will be adults and they have not gone to even primary school. Can you imagine the kind of country we'll be having? That is such a crisis.
No. I actually thought this number was for primary and secondary.
No, this is before school. These ones are the ones who never went to primary.
So when you're looking at that number and you're looking at it in percentages, and you're seeing that even the state with the highest literacy rate is probably 60-something%. And you're seeing the number of failures that the secondary school are churning out every year. You see that
it's like they didn't go to
JAMB has dropped out of a score of 400. The cutoff rate is 160, not even 200. Though.
If they should count the ones who finish secondary school and are not still non-literate, that number you saw, 13.
Yeah, it's going to be
go to 100.
Multiply.
Go to 100 billion.
By 5, it's going to multiply. So that, of course, is adding more to the poverty by the day. And I think this is a very big point, because it deals with the subject we have. Because when you talk of universal basic education, it is the duty of the state.
People blame federal government for it.
Yeah.
It's out of ignorance.
So, but it's actually it's in the hand of the state and local government.
But really, it is the direct responsibility of every local government.
Yeah.
Primary universal education. Every local government should make sure that everybody in their local government goes to school. But you think they are doing it?
No.
And of course, in collaboration with the states, because the states will not let the money get to them.
Yeah. But of course, one of the things that has happened this year is that the Buhari administration has stopped allocation going through the state.
Before it gets to the...
So they send it directly now. And
No,
there are
they have
strict
not started
guidelines.
though. They just took the law. The law just happened.
Okay.
They just enacted the law. Some states are still about to fight it.
No, it started
No,
this
it has
June.
not started. It is this June or May. It is May, 1 month. They enacted. They took the decision. Things don't happen that fast in Nigeria. Even the salary, they said 30,000 salary. It also happened in May. You think they have started receiving it?
Yeah.
Not everybody. It's not everywhere. It's not universal yet.
Yeah, the states.
Yeah,
the
before
states,
it goes around,
the states.
That's what I'm
started,
saying now. Before it goes around, some states are still not agreeing with that local government thing up to now.
Yeah, states like Akwa Ibom.
Yeah, the fact that the federal government took the decision is still going to fight. It could go to even 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years before it will even be spread around.
And it is this.
You are too positive about Nigeria. That you said they took the decision last month and they started working this month.
I saw it in the news that they got the allocation straight. Anyway.
Even the states, they fight federal government all the time that, for last month allocation, we have not received it. Okay, we've come to Abuja for allocation. We are just taking the last one for last month. Even states, things don't work fast in Nigeria like that. They drag things as if they are, as they are using it for corruption.
But when what is meant to come to them, they don't drag it that way. They pay fast to themselves.
Yes, especially the senators. So, but that is a good decision, like you said, that the money will be going directly to
local government.
But for the sake of people who are watching us who might not know how Nigerian money is distributed, because people don't even know who is responsible for what and who is supposed to do what. Everybody just blaming either Buhari or Obasanjo or Jonathan. Everybody is just blaming the president, as if the president is responsible for everything. That is one thing that we have to correct. No, let's say, for example, the pot of money that comes to Nigeria, our income in a year is, let's say, $10 billion, or let's say $1,000. Out of that $10 billion or $1,000, doesn't matter what amount of money, the impression an average Nigerian has is that everything remains in the federal purse, and that it is the federal government that controls the money, and that even the local governments and the state government always complain that, the federal has not given us money, or we don't have money, the federal government is not giving us allocation. They always use those things to justify themselves. But really, the way things are done is like this. All the money that comes to the hand of the federal government in a year or every month, they do it every month, they have a scheme for it, or what do you call it? Is it a
formula?
Parameter, a formula. They have a formula for it.
Sharing
I
formula.
think it is 46%.
No.
46.5 or so.
52 for federal.
52% goes to the federal government. That is as of what time?
No, even as of now. It's still as of now.
Okay.
Yeah. Then 26
goes to
state, and 20 to local
20
government.
goes to local government. Okay. So then we have 13% that goes to the states where oil is being. That is what they call the
Niger Delta.
No, is it not oil producing states? Oil producing states. They have additional 13%. So, but the thing we should look at is that 20% of all the money that comes into the hand of the federal government is given to local government. Tell me if you know your local government and what they do. And let me tell you what the local government is supposed to do. Local government is supposed to be responsible for schools, that every school is operating and every school is functioning, every school is standard. When was the last time your local government came to see your school?
In those days, there used to be something called the local authority.
Okay.
They were the authority responsible for checking
all those
schools. So they come, they check if the schools are the facilities.
Because I don't believe that those schools that we are seeing, no facility, no building, nothing, that government is even, it's like government is just living its own life.
They are not paying
attention. What they are positioned as the secretary of the local government. It was not a, what they call a councillor or something. Mm-hmm. It was just a secretary there. But councillor, they get elected and re-elected. But this one is sitting down there all the while. So And he was telling me, hey, help me look for admission for my children. He had 4 or 5 children. And he said, I will pay. Go look for admission for them in Ukraine or in America. I can pay. You can pay? You are a secretary of local government. You don't have money. You are not supposed to have money. He said, no problem, no problem. They say he has built 5 houses. He didn't go to school. Just got a work as secretary. So what they do is distributing the money. If this is what secretary is getting, can you imagine what the senators, what chairman is getting, what the councillors are getting, what the people who really mean anything are getting? It's not fair. So those schools don't get anything, hospitals don't get anything. I mean, but they don't even care for hospitals. And that is one of the things that local government is supposed to do, establishing of clinics in every local government area. Make sure that roads, primary health centers, and roads,
trunk C roads.
Yeah, trunk C roads are fixed. When we talk about Nigeria and we say there are no good roads, people are blaming this federal government. No, the only person right now who is building road in Nigeria is the federal government. Do you know that there are trunk B road and trunk C road that are supposed to be built by state government and local government? And they are just complaining and putting all the blame on the federal government. And if you complain, for example, somebody called into my program one day and said that there is no federal presence in the East. Maybe you've never heard that statement.
I've heard the statement a whole lot. Yes, it's a common phrase.
Okay. So this guy was, he doesn't know politics, but he's coming here to say we were not.
You don't know what you're talking about.
It is me who don't know.
Someone told me that the second Niger bridge, he said it's a lie.
He said it's
not being built, it's propaganda.
Yes.
I said the pictures are there. Even Obi of Onitsha, when they say it's propaganda, it's not
even
there. That they passed there.
Eastern senators, all of them went there. Even Showore, when he wanted to go and argue that he wanted to criticize Buhari, he went there. Then, so before he went there, he had written an article that is a flop. He also wrote an article that is a lie, that is propaganda. Then people put pressure on him, he went there. Then when he went there, he said, they had just started.
Yeah.
What was your problem? You said it was
nothing much has been done there. So right now, those guys have put live camera
to monitor
the progress of work. But people will still not believe.
Yeah. So this guy was telling me there is no
federal presence
in the East. How can there be no federal presence in the East when the East is going to the governors or your governors? They are going to Abuja every month to get federal allocation. How can you? First of all, 20% for local government, and for the states 26.7 for local government. For states, and 20%. That is how many put together. 45%, right?
Yes, or 47% in fact.
47%?
Yeah, 47 point something percent.
47% of all the money
for both state and local
that comes to Nigeria goes to your state.
47.
Another state. 47%. And how many states do you have?
36.
5.
In the East, 5
in
states.
In the East,
yeah.
5 states. All of them are going every month. They are collecting their own share. Why should you blame federal government that only takes half? And the rest of the half is coming to you. And the federal government has made this in such a way that, okay, don't say it's the governor alone that took it. Now, the governor will take 25 point something percent, but 20% will still go to your local government. Why don't you make them work? Demand from them. Just like in my own state, which is in the West, they are distributing it among themselves. That's why the only people who are rich and well-to-do in Nigeria are the people who have access to money. Either they are state officials, or they are local government officials, or they are federal officials. It's not because the country is not producing something and giving them something, but the thing are being taken over by our. So the problem we have is not with Nigeria, as people talk about. Who say, oh, Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is bad. No, it's Nigerians who are bad. It is these Nigerians who, the elite, I will not even say Nigerians in general, It is the elite, these 2% or 3% elite that are having access to the money and everything. They are the ones who are bad. It is the problem we have in Nigeria. It's not between the East and the West or the South and the North. The problem we have is totally different. The problem we have is between the oligarchs and the aristocrats, the people who are controlling the national cake and the national purse, the people, the politicians, the haves and the have not. So it is the people who are, our elite are the ones who are killing us, because they are the ones who are taking the allocations, the thing that is supposed to be used for the secondary primary schools, to fix all the roads. It is your local government that's supposed to make sure that all the roads in your local government area are functioning and that they are maintained. It is your local government that is supposed to make sure that all the schools are functioning and they are in good state. They have money for it every month, not every year, every month. All the clinics and economic activity, they are the ones who are supposed to sustain economy from the grassroots, especially in relations to SMEs, or what they call small and medium scale enterprises and agriculture. The money is being given to them, and it is in the constitution. The local government is supposed to, because if the local government does what they're supposed to do, to support those SMEs and to also promote agriculture in the local government, that is what reduces poverty. Yeah. That is what will put make sure
direct touch
of everybody who is in the citizen, who is a citizen of the country. But that direct touch is not there. Everybody is looking at Buhari. How fair is that? Or even Obasanjo or even Jonathan? It's not fair, because they are not they have done their own part, and their own part is to make sure that there is allocation that's being sent down. Now, somebody will say, but the president is the one that is ultimately responsible for the country in general. Yes, maybe they don't have, and that's why they have to take the blame too. But the blame ultimately lies on every citizen, on civil societies, on pressure groups, public organizations. We are the ones who are supposed to say, no, we are the people. This is where is our money going to? If people don't stand tall, the government is too busy. The people in the federal government, they are stealing their own. They are too busy stealing their own. But let them be stealing their own in the federal government. But the ones who are near us here, let us say we will not allow you to steal our own. At least they are giving you, you are coming back home now. We are not going to allow you to steal it. So the fact that we are docile, the fact that we are passive, the fact that we are not putting demand on the door, because all those people will come and give us chicken change and go and buy some bag of rice or yam, and we will be happy as if they are buying it from their pocket. Now, recently, there was just a decision taken by EFCC that they are going to probe all those
ICPC.
Is it ICPC? Yeah. That they are going to probe all those senators who are collecting money for projects. Yeah. And those money for projects, no project is being done anywhere.
Nobody is asking any question.
Nobody is asking any question.
You are saying there's no federal presence.
Yeah. Because apart from the money that is coming to your local government, and apart from the money that is coming to your state, money is also going to your senators and to your representatives from the federal.
Assembly member from the state.
From the state. So that they will take care of the people who elected them from that region where they have been elected. Money is given to them every month, every something, to be able to do services so that you will not suffer. This is why there is poverty. And our people who are also silent, who are not protesting, who are not proactive, the plague of silence, who are under the plague of silence, we are cordially, all of us, we are responsible, mutually responsible.
You're very right, Jesse. And for instance, the person who came to ask you now that there's no federal presence, one would assume, right, that he's speaking out. But he's actually not speaking out. He's only speaking against someone, not about the issue.
Expressing sentiment.
Sentiment, that's what I'm saying. He's speaking against a particular person and not about issues. Because if it would be about issues, then you'll be addressing, the first place you would have seen is, if you are from Abia State, for instance, you'll see what's going on in Abia State. But rather, many of these people will rather see what's going on in Lagos State than what's going on in Abia. They'll rather see what's going on in Ekiti than the Osun that they are living in.
I don't get your point.
meaning that people only want to criticize who they don't like, and not necessarily the system that is
No, you
impoverishing
can't
them.
blame them now, but they don't know. How many Nigerians know what I'm talking about right now? That they are they don't even, the elite, the oligarchs of Nigeria, the aristocrats, they isolate people from information. They are, in fact, if you ask Nigerians like this, they don't know how much money goes to local government. They don't even know. They know that some money is supposed to go. They don't even know who's responsible. They don't even know what the local government is supposed to do for them.
They have no expectation.
Because there's no information, there is no expectation. They have been taught that everything depends on them themselves, that they are the government. But that is not the way it's supposed to be. Money is being given for them to be taken care of. But even the elite, they have come to the assumption that nothing is done in this country for anybody. Like everybody should just take care of themselves. That is not the answer. The answer should be we are not going to Abuja. We are going to the local government something, and we are going to hold them responsible. Just like I did here in Ukraine. If you are not going to take responsibility, I'm going to challenge you. I brought people out until citizens begin to demand, because what are the people? Why are they having that? Why are they? What are they? How are they using that ignorance to blindfold our people? The government people, the local government and the state government, is because they will only say, it is Abuja, Abuja. No, it's not Abuja, guys. And this is what Nigerians don't know. It is not Abuja. Abuja gives you money every month. Yes? So it's no more Abuja. Leave Abuja out of this state. It is you. And because citizens are not demanding responsibility, they are not demanding accountability, they are not going to hold their representatives responsible. Either they are state representatives or federal representatives and they are local representatives. They are not holding them responsible. Until we begin to hold people of such responsible, we will keep on living in poverty. Because we keep on thinking that it's just one Abuja that is responsible.
Then from here, we need to talk about IGR. That's internally generated revenue. Which means that if we had been, if the local government are proactive, even they will be generating revenue. If the state is proactive, even they will be generating revenue. And with this revenue, it will do, they can even generate more revenue than the allowance they get. That's very much possible. You look like at a state like Ondo. Ondo has probably the largest bitumen deposit in the world. Nobody is really exploring that. But if that was being explored, then it means the state will generate more revenue. The land mass that is in the southwest, arable land, nobody is really focusing much on that to plant seeds that are of financial viability. But if that was done, then there will be more revenue. Investors are not, we are not creating enough climate for investors. And if states are competing more for investors to come into their state, they will be able to generate more revenue for their state. So that means that if a particular state is just waiting for allocation from the federal government, that particular state will be in more poverty. We remember when the Lagos state, the federal government ceased their allocation for about 6 months going to a year. Somehow they were still able to survive. Why? Because they have a very large internally generated revenue. And that's the same for every other state. And some states may be disadvantaged and other states advantaged in something. And if states begin to consider, for instance, look at the partnership between Lagos State and Kebbi. Lagos State does not have the land for rice, but it has the market for it. And so Kebbi State has the land, but not the market for it. And they came together and they are producing something called the lake rice. If states can do like that too, it would help a lot. And of course, we should not forget about decaying infrastructures, like we are saying, not just the ones that are federal infrastructures, but state infrastructures. For instance, if within a local government now, someone builds a farm and is looking at how do I transport this produce, even to the state capital, to sell it there? Who is responsible for trunk B roads? Not the federal government, it's the state. So we find out that no matter how much you want to say it, the people that are ultimately responsible for the daily and everyday lives of Nigerians, it's not even the federal government. It is the state and local government, because it is those microscopic part of the economics that really affect our lives. The macroscopic ones, yeah, they give us big names, they bring in big companies, they can produce, let's say, even massive jobs on a massive scale. But at the end of the day, maybe not everybody will be employed. At the end of the day, some people will need to employ themselves, and the microeconomics that really affect this, they come from the policies of state government. You know, we like we are saying, the local government have become so docile; they are not really affecting anything. And once you take away the real policies that the local and state government are meant to be making, then what you have ultimately done is to eliminate a large number from the middle class. People are meant to be the middle class, because federal government with their own policies,
they are producing people like Dangote.
Exactly. Those are the people that
macroeconomy. They are responsible for macroeconomy.
Yes, those are people they are really trying to produce. People with big scales, Volkswagen coming.
But the microeconomy
are controlled by the state, and those are the ones that are responsible for the middle class in every state.
And the poverty.
And the poverty that is really
the local class.
Yeah, facing the low class of people. So it's time that we really begin to ask our governors, and thank God now that this Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit law has been passed, and of course, although DSA is saying it's been slow to be implemented, but eventually to be implemented. But thank God we have it now. It means you can now be sure that money is coming straight to your local government chairman. And so it's time to begin to task them.
Even if it doesn't go to a local government chairman, it's in the hand of your government. It's in your state. It's in the east. If it's the local government says it's not with him, go and get the governor. Not be your governor. Anyway, the point you have made, very, very cogent, very, very strong, that what is stopping the state government, we are moving now from responsibility of the local government to the responsibility of the state government. Now, the state government Nigeria is collecting 25 point something percent of all 26.7% of all the money that the federal government is making. 26%. What is stopping any any state government from building their own airport? And Akwa Ibom has proved to us that they can do it. Somebody was also calling the other day and said that, okay, we don't have any airport in the east, even though I know that they have a Enugu airport and something, but they are not being maintained. They want to close it now because it's not being sustained. So I said, but Akwa Ibom was able to do their own, with their own money, because the federal government is giving it. Why should the federal government come to do everything for you after they have given you money again already? What is stopping every state from building their own airport? What is stopping every state from building their own companies? What is stopping every state from building every state in Nigeria is like a country. Look at a country like Congo Brazzaville, just 2 or 4 million people. Look at a country like Gabon, 2 million people. Look at a country like Niger. Look at a country like Benin. These are just like Chad. These are just countries, small countries like our states. So, and those countries, nobody is giving them allocation. Nobody is giving Niger allocation. Nobody is giving Chad allocation. Nobody is giving Benin allocation. They have to look inside. They are the same size like our states. Just imagine that every state that we have in Nigeria is a country. Won't you survive? You have the same right as a country. Develop yourself, for Christ's sake. Look into your own territory, inside your own state, and find your own resources and use them. But apart from you finding your own resources, just like Benin would do, just like Ghana would do, just like Cameroon would do, just like all those small countries would do, and they are surviving and they are making it. Do the same thing. But apart from that, federal government is even saying, okay, well, let's give you a push. 25%, 26% of all the money coming from federal government, they are still giving to you. Who will give Ghana? Who will give all those other countries? They have to look inside and develop their own resources. But you You are being given every more money. Why don't you take that money, build your own industry that will compete? Build an industry, build economy, build economy that will compete with Ghana, that will compete with Cameroon, that will compete with Kenya, that will compete with the same countries that have the same population like your own state.
So, but there's an issue yet before you go on, so you can just address it, because some people would argue with you that this is the same reason why some people are agitating for resource control. So, if every state now, you know, the way it is in Nigeria is that the oil belongs to Nigeria.
Yes.
The gold the bitumen, everything belongs to Nigeria.
Yes,
you could try to find it and get derivation from
for your state.
For your state, but it still ultimately belongs to Nigeria.
Yes.
So some people are saying that they need that what will help us is resource control, where the oil will belong to that particular state in Niger Delta, and they will just be giving the federal government some percentage. So, but with this attitude that we still have, do you think that will change anything?
No. What I'm saying, we have, you know, there are different laws in Nigeria, and the one you are talking about right now, you are talking about the law that says that the mineral and the natural resources. But apart from that, what are the other things you have? You know, but even those mineral and natural resources, you can create them for yourself, because once it's coming from your state, just like oil, they have, is it 13% extra?
Yeah.
So if I were a governor, let's say from the state, oil producing state, I'm going to, you know, the oil producing states have the right to also get license.
Yeah.
So people have license, you know, all this, you know, Akwa Ibom, they have their own oil well.
Yes.
I'm going to get our own oil well, just like businessmen have the right to get the oil well. And they manage it and they just pay tax for the federal government. The same thing state could do. So I'm going to get license to operate our own oil well. Or I'm going to raise up businessmen, just like Dangote and everything, in our own state, we will help them to get the license, and they will exploit it's not disturbing them. It's about the creativity and ingenuity that they need, and not just waiting to put money in their pocket. Let them work hard. If they really want to work hard, they can do like Lagos. Lagos doesn't have any natural resources, but they are bringing in industry. They are, you know, doing things for themselves.
And I think even for Lagos, DSA, if not because of the way people are migrating to that Lagos every day, I think, and it's just a microcosm of the problem of Nigeria. With the way Lagos is really progressing, every day people are moving into the place. It's not showing.
It would have become like Europe if not for the migration.
So people are leaving the east. Hausa people coming from the north.
Yoruba
even in Ekiti are going there. So that's why you find out that the elite of almost every state in Yoruba land, for instance, are not living in that state. And that's really affecting their growth.
So nobody to develop them.
So nobody to really develop them. The elites of Ekiti, for instance, are living in Abuja, Lagos. The elites in the east are living in Abuja, Lagos. So nobody to really stay there and say, okay, this is our primary concern. Let's develop our place. Nobody is doing that. Ogun State is even doing very well because it's very near to Lagos. So people can afford to stay in Ogun State and still enjoy the serenity. And they are able to pull a lot of FDI into the state. So I think that's one of the problems in Nigeria too right now.
Yeah, but it is the responsibility of the governors to entice their citizens. It is the responsibility of the governors to create the condition. That is why countries are fighting. That's why they talk about, you know, investment in the conducive environment, or whatever they call it. Sir. That the most investment conducive environment, the most investment attractive environment in the countries. Countries are competing like that. Let the governors begin to compete also. That our state is the most. Ogun State is one of the ones that are really.
Yeah, and Kaduna of recent.
And Kaduna also is doing that. Yeah. So all these things. Okay, we don't need to break Nigeria. You don't need to. Do reconstruction and say, okay, put it in the constitution, let everything be on. The one you have right now, you can't, you know, big things don't just start big. Big things grow from small. If you cannot be faithful in something that is small, There is no way if you are trusted with something big that you will be faithful. The way you relate to small things is that the way you relate to big things. The way your attitude to small resources, the way you manage small resources, you even do worse when it's a big resource. So if you cannot do anything with the resources that you have in your state right now that are not under the jurisdiction of the federal government, the ones that are under your own jurisdiction, you are not doing anything. What makes you to think that when you do restructure somewhere and then they will say, okay, you now own everything that is in your land? What makes you think that you will perform better? There is no guarantee that you will perform better because you have not performed in small things. And every big thing grows from small things. If you cannot be faithful in small, you cannot, be faithful in bigger things. And so, the fact that you're just going to do constitutional amendment and do restructuring, and that you will just be written in Abuja in the constitution that you now possess what you have, that doesn't mean that you will perform. What is disturbing you from performing now? What is disturbing you from, using even the money that Abuja is giving you now to develop your state? I mean, every state in Nigeria could be developed just like any country is being developed if you have the ingenuity. Nothing is the reconstruction, the restructure will not do anything if you are greedy, if you are only looking at pocketing things in your pocket. The only thing that will make you to do is to say that, okay, everything now, nobody will control us again. Federal government will not control us. It will be horrible. Now, at least you have federal government who is putting you in charge, who can challenge you, pay salary, or will come and help you, will give you some money, or something. But then when everything is divided and it's just given to you, you have to have the visionary leader to be able to push and be able to, develop the human capital resources and be able to have the vision for the economy. Nobody will control you. They will say everything belongs to you, your state. Now, the federal government doesn't have the right here. Yes. And you will not do everything. You will just be corrupt. You will be worse than Mobutu. You will be worse because every state will just have their own Mobutu.
Autonomy.
Yes, and then nobody will be able to say anything to you.
And that's why I asked that question about the resource control. That if even now the federal government can still control what they are giving to you in terms
they are not using it well. They are not doing anything.
So
what about when nobody is controlling?
Exactly. And that was going to be a very, very, very big problem.
Catastrophe.
Because, for instance, let's consider the bailout that was given by the federal government. 3 sets of bailout. And some states are still not using that money to pay salary. That they beg, Buhari was begging like this, please pay salary.
We are giving you money, extra money.
And if people think that the governor of your state does,
and they are blaming the federal government for
for the poverty in their state. Let's take Ekiti State for an example, DSA. Fayose was governor there, and currently the governor there is Fayemi. And if you look at before Fayose came, Fayemi was the governor, and he had set up some processes that were already in place. Fayose came and destroyed everything. It was just cutting pomo everywhere. Governance was reduced to just who can eat corn on the street.
They call it whatever.
Stomach infrastructure. Yes. Now, the Gosi water that was there, Gosi water, which was like bottled water, which was a income generating avenue for the government, it was bastardized. It wasn't working. GTB Bank was closed down. Banks were running away from Ekiti. Now, workers were not being paid, even though allocation was coming in every month. He stopped declaring the internally generated revenue, which before he came was already at 3 billion. So, I'm not sure of that figure of that internally generated. Maybe it was 1.5 billion because I knew Fayemi raised it up from 300 million. So, but in any case, there was no accountability, no progress. Nothing was being done. The only phantom project he really did was the flyover, which he even jacked up the money to make more money for himself. At the end of the day, a new guy comes in, starts restoring the Kogosis, not just the water, but also the tourist center, the tourism place there, because there's a cold and warm spring.
Tourist attraction.
Yeah, tourist attraction there. Increase the allowances of teachers, starts doing those things that used to affect the life of average citizens. Before they started paying this money at federal level, this governor was the first guy to start paying old age people 5,000 naira allowance per month. Now, you see how those little things begin to affect the average lives of everybody. When salary is being paid promptly, it means that the people will be able to go to market. Market women will get money, then be able to buy stuffs again, and that circle goes on and on and on like that. So you can just see using Fayose and Fayemi from one particular state as an example, you can see how much the people who are in charge really matter. And if we do not get to the place where we begin to ask and demand governance from our state governors and state government, from our senators and from our House of Rep members, from our assembly members, down to local government chairman and the councillors, then we are still joking. We are still really joking. Because next week we are meant to talk about state police. But these are the real issues. If we cannot demand governance, if governance is still at this level, and state governments are they are not ashamed to say we cannot pay 30,000 naira, which is less than $100 minimum wage.
And it is not from your own internally generated money.
Yes.
It is from the government. You just go to money. You just go to collect.
So
you've collected the money. Make you release them now.
That's really I really don't understand how that works. I'm looking at this, Jesse. Even if you are a governor. For the first 1 year, let's even say you cannot do infrastructure. You invest in something that can bring returns. There are states making billions of dollars just from sesame seed. Sesame seed. Then what's our problem? I really don't understand. This is not even big industrialization, it's just normal agriculture. So Nigeria, the more you look, the less you see. At the end of the day, it's a whole big conspiracy of, like you said earlier, Jesse, of the elite against the masses, of those who have and want to monopolize resources against those who are actually the ones who are the major factor of production. So at the end of the day, if we don't stand up...
Can you imagine the police you just mentioned now?
Yes, yes.
That they are giving independence of police to every state. I mean, can you imagine what Okorosha would have done? Can you imagine what, any crazy governor, El Rufai, can you imagine what would have done?
No, El Rufai is even one of those who is against.
Against. Of course, it's crazy. Anybody that has control of police in his own state, nobody will win that election now. You like right now, APC lost 7 states. If they had been having police in every state, everybody will control their own. One Zamfara,
the impunity.
Zamfara governor was even telling the chairman of it
that if they burn him well, he should come to the state, and he didn't have control of anything. No.
He doesn't even have police yet, though.
The kind of impunity that is already going on,
and you want to empower this elite again, they will turn citizens.
But that's how it should be.
They will turn ordinary citizens to dogs because they now have the power over the military, the police force. And you want to talk? Opposition will be dead in every state. And if you say you are a social organization, NGO or pressure group when they have power, not just power, police also, you will be ranking in. Look at the pastors. One Kemi journalist went and criticized, revealed that one pastor was sleeping, having girlfriend. Why do you talk about it? The pastor doesn't have control over police, but just by bribing, he went and put the girl in prison. Another one came to Nigeria just to visit because he said, I slept with this pastor. They went and put her in prison too. These are just pastors that use money. What about if they are going to be depending on you for a salary? You don't know the country you have. You want to do independent state police? Are you crazy? And I'm so ashamed that the people who are asking for this state police are Yorubas. A lot of them are Yoruba elite. They want to destroy this country. Can you imagine that Ojukwu had post police? Without state police, he did secession. If don't even talk. I'm sorry. If Wike will happen with state police, you know what will be happening? Wike or something.
Yeah, Wike.
You know what will be happening in River State? Without state police, you see what is already happening there. Who is even coming with this kind of crazy ideas?
No, I think the idea comes from ideality versus reality. because Nigeria is a federation, ideally,
they are using that as a manipulative argument.
And then talking about...
We will have it, what's the name of this? Abacha. We will have Abacha in every state. We will have dictatorship in every state. And federal government will not be able to do anything.
And some of the arguments that have been at, maybe we should leave that for next week.
No, we should leave that because, I'm scared even to think about that. They are saying, oh, security or something. What is stopping them from doing security? Something now.
Yeah. We'll talk about state police from next week. But I think at this point we should...
let's announce for callers.
We should open the poll for callers to call in. So please, if you want to join the conversation, just write us on Move Agent. When you write us, you just write you would like to call, and then we are going to call you from the studio. We do that to avoid interference of calls, when multiple calls are coming in at the same time. So please just write, and then we will give you a call. We want to hear your point. We want to hear your view. Who is responsible for the poverty in Nigeria, local, state, or federal government? So we are waiting for your calls. So, DSA, now, once we've talked about population, we've talked about internally generated revenue, and we've talked about how state and federal and local government, their role in terms of microeconomics, which really affect the lives of the people. Then, it would look as though we are really absolving the federal government of blame, but the buck stops at their desk. So what can the federal government do really to stop or to impede?
The federal government should stop telling us stories about democratic process. Too weak. Abuja, Buhari is too weak. He needs to return some of his strong-handedness.
But they will call him tyrant, and they say
he needs to become tougher. He needs to be returned something. I need the Buhari that was there in the 80s. I don't need this Buhari that is here now like a sleeping dog. I need the Buhari that was a lion, like with a Diagbon. I need that Buhari. We need we need the federal government that will be able to enforce the law and call people to order and to responsibility, and call the federal government, the state government, the local government people, and let them know that they are going to be penalized for every failure that what they are doing. We need the federal government that will not just be a barking dog, but it will be a dog that is not just barking
but biting,
but that is also biting. Yes.
Because
that is the problem of the federal government, too weak. We need that Obasanjo, even though he wiped out that village. He gets things done. We need the kind of president that will know how to get things done. This president is too docile. He's too democratic again. He's going from one extreme to the other.
Extreme. He's saying he's a reformed Democrat.
I think we have a.
Hello, good. Okay,
no,
not yet. Okay. So people will say he has said he's a reformed Democrat and is trying to entrench democracy.
He's trying to prove to people that he has become democratic. Well, at the expense of, that's why I would have rather put the wife as the president.
But at the end of the day, maybe...
Because the wife at least knows that things need to be done harsher in a much more demanding way.
No, sometimes it's easier for people who are outside to talk that way. Because again, the gain of this is if he's able to entrench it as an institution. Slow it may be, but like you said, we don't need strong men. We may never have the kind of strong man like Buhari again, but if the institutions can be strengthened, even if the man himself seems docile, then maybe we'll really progress. Yes, strong institution.
But for you to start that strong institution, to establish it, you need some form of authority. You need authority to build those strong institutions.
I believe many people like you who are clamoring for a stronger Buhari. We don't want to see the kind of docile, gentle one. There's a way you can still follow the rule of law and be yet assertive in what you have to do. I think we have a caller now.
Yeah, okay.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Hello, good afternoon. Who do we have on the line?
That is Brother Charles now. You
Yeah,
can tell.
this is Charles. Dr. Victor, how are you doing?
Very well. Good to hear from you, sir.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much for bringing up this topic. Usually, I count myself as, and I also see myself as a non-political guy. I never had interest in it. But I do take time to get myself educated. And I think today I want to speak more on the educative side of this program because, number one, I never knew that local government get 26 point something percent.
20%.
And state, yeah. I never knew that. Mm-hmm. I never knew that that kind of money goes into their hand.
And state gets 26.7.
Yes, so I never knew that this level of this information on Nigerian governance, though I'm a Nigerian, I lived in it till I was 20.
I don't know what's wrong with your, it's like your voice is shaking.
Oh, how about now?
Okay, good now. Yeah, you said you never knew something. We didn't hear very well.
I never knew about this governance of Nigeria, and I lived in Nigeria for the first 26 years of my life. So this program is for me very educative for me to actually know how things happen. Instead of people pointing fingers at Buhari in their state, they should be chasing their local government chairman.
You get it.
All around town.
You get it.
No one should be shouting Buhari. In fact, the only reason they will shout Buhari is if the state don't get the money.
Yeah.
But for any development in the state, they should be chasing their chairman and state government around town. They should rather pile up by the roadside and close down the local government that you people will not open office today. And that should be the level of grassroots activism that we should have.
Now you are talking now. Now you are in Nigeria. Now you are talking like a citizen. So where are those citizens?
Well, DSA, most of them don't know this information too. And the ones that know, they will rather...
They are rubbing hands.
Yes, they are rubbing hands with the people that they will not talk. And when it comes to the level of party governments, if I don't have to talk or they are benefiting indirectly from the local government, then they will never talk because they are benefiting directly from or indirectly from it. So everyone that is not directly benefiting, every bad road in your street, chase everybody around. Mobilize people in your local government and say today we are going to close down our local government. Nobody will go in or go out. That the street, Okpemipo Street down the road has to be fixed. And if we don't get to that level in Nigeria, the nation cannot really change.
Yeah.
Because we'll be pointing fingers at the wrong individuals.
Yep.
So thank you so much for this program. I've learned a lot, a whole lot, and how to solve economic problem due to growth. I've also learned about that, how we can use reducing childbirth, educating Nigerians to be literate and making them productive in the society. Thank you very much, Dr. Victor. Thank you so much for your insight into Nigerian politics.
Thank you, sir.
Somebody wrote on the comment that you actually know more than some of the senators that we have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Yes, blessings. They wish you elect you as a senator.
Well, the problem again that I've noticed, like you are saying, DSA, is that it's not like many of these senators don't know. They do.
They are benefiting from it.
They are just benefiting from systems, so everybody keeps quiet. My senator, I met him this holiday. Oh, okay. I even gave him a copy of your book. Okay. I believe he must have read it. And I sat down with this guy for some hours. And he's a very brilliant mind. Very brilliant. He's been in the Senate before and he's one of the most productive guys there. But somehow, like you are saying, and you've always said, a bad system will always defeat a good person.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir. DSA, I'm Dr. Victor.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. I'm calling from Germany. My name is Monday Obasuyi Demundia.
Yes, how are you, Bra Monday?
Good evening, sir. I'm enjoying your discussion. Thank you very much for your enlightenment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. There is something I want to ask, sir. Like what we have been discussing since, but I'm thinking it somehow. Can we achieve, or will Nigeria be able to achieve those things without energy, without light?
Good question.
A country that is full with darkness, no light. So I'm thinking, how is it possible?
Good question. And it's not possible. You are right.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That is what I want to ask. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you, sir.
Very good.
God bless you, sir. Yes, sir.
But what stops every state from Lagos State is now doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, by producing their own electricity.
Even Akwa Ibom started.
Akwa Ibom also started doing it. In fact, I've had some governors, they boasted that our state is going to be 100%. I think, you know, one of them was Fayoshe, who's boasted that about 5 years ago. I don't think he did it.
Yeah. There's a problem with electricity. And this is the fault. As of now, this is a very big fault of the Nigerian media. Do you know if a small bad news comes out about Buhari, you see how they amplify it? Just this last week, DSA, the former chairman of NARC, those were the company that was responsible for privatizing and in charge of electricity. The former chairman, his name is Dr. Sam Amadi, you can check it.
Yeah, I know him.
He wrote very damning facts about
How
the
they
failure of electricity and how the whole system was designed to fail. How they privatized to
and
people that they knew did not have the money.
He was the controlling commissioner, and he was writing that. And when I was hearing that, I was you are the first one to go to jail, because he was the monitoring organization,
and you are selling to people who you know don't have the money. So what these guys did is they thought the money would come in, it was going, so they borrowed money, a lot of money from banks, and sold it to themselves. And they said they had to even change the law so that they can sell it. So they basically just changed the laws, then sold it to themselves, and everything was just designed to fail.
What surprised me is that
the
EFCC didn't go after.
EFCC can even be saying they are doing investigation. And that's why they are
supposed to go after that Amadi himself.
They can even still
because
say,
that is open confession.
That's what I'm saying. They say the EFCC can even still say that they are still doing investigation. You know, you can do paperwork and then you confront people with investigation. But the Nigerian media are still silent about the things that really matter. They notice it, but because it does not have a Buhari in front of it, so it's only things that really have Fulani or Buhari that the Nigerian media right now wants to be talking about.
And it is the Western Nigerian people that are to blame for it, because they control 75% of the media, the Yorubas. They are buying more into that headsman's propaganda right now.
Yeah, the media is controlled by the South, not necessarily Southwest, the South. Because you have Southeasterners, a lot of them, and Southerners.
70% of Nigerian media are in Lagos. So
in Lagos, but not owned by Southwesterners, so to say. But in any case, everybody is a Nigerian that owns the media. But it's as though they are only interested in anything that has to do with Fulani or Buhari, any other thing right now. Even though it's going to kill the nation tomorrow, they are not interested in talking about it. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening. Who is calling from where?
God bless you. This is Amos, evangelist.
From Spain?
From Spain, yes, sir.
Welcome, man.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
They
said you people are only criticizing the one that is against Buhari. This is the chief criticizer of Buhari now.
But you know, when we talk,
can you speak into evangelist? Speak into your microphone. You are too far. We can't hear your voice very well.
Okay.
Yes, speak into your device.
By time we talk,
we can't hear you.
Maybe we have to call back.
Where is your telephone? Hello.
Hello.
We can't hear you. Your voice. Hello.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, now it's good.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, now it's good.
Okay. God bless you, Bravito.
Thank you, ma'am.
God bless you.
And you
You
too.
know, as we, I first of all, we are laughing. What really motivates me to call is that because I really want to commend you for being honest.
Yeah, please go
Because it
ahead.
takes an honest person. Hello.
Yes, please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, I say it take an honest man to even to appoint to support a leader, and when the leader is not doing well, it will also come out to say to speak and say what is the angle is going or what is doing is not good.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
It takes an honest person to make correction whenever there is needed. I want to commend you for that, because a lot of Buhari supporters, now that things are not going well, they are just, it's like they are not seeing it wrong. They are not seeing that and nothing is going wrong. They are seeing that everything is perfect. His regime is perfect. I thank you that you also also recognize that the area that is not doing good, and you I thank God. I want to really celebrate God in your life, and I thank you for that. It is really wonderful. We are learning. We are learning from you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
God bless you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so thank you for that. I think the area of holding anybody to account is the responsibility of every citizen. However, when only bad opinions, and probably many times that they are wrong, are the stampeding opinions, when they are louder than voice of reason, when sentiment becomes louder than reason, then you give reason no other choice than to always sound out reason. So because when we talk about Nigeria's problem, many of us don't criticize Buhari that way that probably many will expect, because we know, for instance, that he is not the alpha of the problem. And so, but if there are things he is doing that we feel he is also not doing that right, we are going to criticize him in that regard. So I think Buhari is not God. Buhari is human who can make mistakes and must be criticized where he makes mistakes. However, that must be on the basis of on the basis of truth and not mere sentiment. Yeah, I think we have another caller.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. Who do we have?
Yeah, this is Adiola from London.
Wow, Miss Adiola, welcome.
Yeah, good. Though I didn't join the program today at the beginning.
Can you speak a bit louder?
Oh, can you hear me?
Just a bit louder if you could.
Into the mic.
Into the microphone.
Yeah. Better now? Is it better now?
No, not yet.
Hello? Is it okay now?
Yeah, better.
Better.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't join the program from the beginning, but from when I do join, the cause of the poverty in Nigeria is caused by the government.
Okay.
If you look at it, when Buhari, he took the oath on the 29th, everybody dispersed. He said he wasn't going to make a speech or whatever. Then they declared June 12. After June 12, they declared dinner. Can you see the food? And Nigerians are in poverty, hungry. People are hungry. People are dying of hunger. And yet, our government are celebrating Democracy Day. It is crazy. It is crazy. All of them are the cause of the poverty. If we can defer not to make a speech on the inauguration day, I don't think he deserves to celebrate a dinner party for them to have a dinner where his wife is having millions of gowns on, and they are you just look at the banquet hall, whatever they did, it's all rubbish. if they don't have the heart of Nigerians at heart. We voted the wrong people into government. They are not, I so much love Buhari, but I'm condemning the government now because all their actions are just rubbish. They are just rubbish. If the federal government can do that, you imagine what is happening in the local government. Sanwo-Olu, he was having party. The other one, they were all having party for winning election and being inaugurated. The money they wasted, and people are so hungry. I took up one of the Libya girl up now. Since 2018, this girl has not been done, nothing has been done. It was on the news of Legit. The girl, that 24-year-old girl, the one that got pregnant and came back. I just took up the case of that girl now and called Legit. It took me so long to get Legit because this is my birthday week. I'm looking for who to bless. I'm looking for Nigerians to bless. And we have government with the millions of money of the people, and they are using it on their own useless, whatever you want to call it. Please, we need to vote all these people out and get something better in. That's all I have to contribute. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much for that. You're right, and there's no way one could disagree with you. But yes, the addendum to that no government can rise above the values of the people. No government can rise above the values of the society. So what you see is just a reflection of who we are. Yeah, we celebrate when people are really suffering on our streets every day. So what you said cannot be faulted. Oaths cannot be picked. It will be inhumane to do that.
It's a reflection of our society, of who we are.
Yeah. It's vanity, what an average Nigerian would do. Yeah.
We live in the culture of vanity, frivolousness, triviality, and we are just people who are living for emptiness.
Yeah.
And we don't value human life. Yeah. We want to live big. We want to show forth that we have arrived, that we have something, that we are the privileged ones. And that is almost every average Nigerian is like that.
Yeah. Just imagine that an average Nigerian is thinking like you, who went to the extra mile to look for a girl who came back from Libya. They are not up to, altogether that are come back, let's say 10,000. If at least 10,000 Nigerians out of the millions that we have that are even okay.
We don't have 10,000 that think like that. I think we have a caller. Hello?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Please speak directly into your device to be louder.
Okay, good evening, dear sir. This is Ude on the line.
Who?
Ude?
Ude from, okay, yes. How are you, sir?
From Valencia.
Yes.
I'm fine, sir. Good evening.
Nice to
and
hear
Victor,
you.
Good evening to you.
Good evening, sir. Good to have you around.
Yeah, you are doing a great job, and you and DSA.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we will blame government largely because most of us have been in advanced environment. Government provides infrastructure that make business to thrive, and they collect taxes and run their system. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, but over the years, our system has been about feeding bottle government system arrangement, where governors, both governors at the state level, local government chairman at the local council level, left things they should do to generate funds at their locality. They depend on Abuja, that at the end of the month, money is being given, and those money given is not used for what it's supposed to be used for, but it's shared among those in authority. And that made them to be lazy, and that encouraged a system that people did not look up to. Things to work, to generate money. It's all about sell oil, let us share our money. And unless we change the system, and these are one of the things Buhari promised in 2015, he was going to make changes both in NPC and other sectors. But till now, we've not seen changes. And if we change the system, if we continue to depend on every month, federal government, governors will run to Abuja with their commissioner for finance, share money, then they spread their security vote, then pave some roads, tell people that they are working. If we continue this way, I don't think the country will change in the nearest future until we change the system that we practice. Even if we are not going to deal with Georgia, give Georgia to state, Can we do a system that encourage governors use what is within the area to develop? No state in Nigeria, no single state in Nigeria that did not have one form of natural resources that can sustain them. No single state in Nigeria. But because of over-dependence on oil, that they ship monthly, it makes governors to be lazy. If we continue with that system, we are not going to.
Beautiful. Great idea. He's proposing to remove the allocations altogether. That would be good now.
If you remove the allocation altogether, then
they will all complain.
It will still be going to federal. So, but what will federal do with it? So, at the end of the day, the idea that they have to work hard more is a very brilliant idea.
But they will not work now. Because even when they were receiving it, they are not paying something. Yeah. Talk level when they are not receiving, they will say they have argument.
But there will still be no competition. So I think what I'll pick really from his own argument is the drive that must be there more to try to make more for themselves as a state. Because until that is done, where, like you are saying, states can begin to compete on the level of performance, not on redundancy or just sitting down. If states can really begin to compete on innovation, then it will be good. But it seems as though because the elites are really comfortable, the cars they drive has very good shock absorber. So by the time they get to the pothole on the road, they don't feel it. But in Nigeria is buying probably 22nd hand car. The car has moved hands like 22 times. The shock absorber, everything is gone. By the time it gets to one pothole, it's will and probably even flip over. They are not feeling it. They are too immune from the reality of the society. And until we begin to make them see what we are talking about, then they will really be doing nothing. Because the governor of your state is from one village in that state. His roots are there. It was not imported from China. They didn't smuggle him through Lome border. So what are we talking about? It means he has people. It means he's from somewhere. It means there's no way. He's not a spirit. He is reachable. We must make him feel exactly what we are going through. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you want to say everything you want to say about Buhari, say everything you want to say about Jonathan. They have people who are their enablers. And these enablers have their ears. And until we hold these enablers to account, even though we may not be able to see Jonathan or even Buhari or whoever will become the president of Nigeria, we are not yet getting anywhere. So I agree with him that we must make governors begin to try to do more to produce more. So I don't know if we still have any more caller.
No, I think we should stop because I'm coming back in the next 10-15 minutes to continue my series on service and stewardship.
All right. So we can really say that at the conclusion of all of these things, that the federal government is responsible for the macro economy, which really does not touch too much on the lives of average individuals. They want to create more big companies. They want to bring in multinational companies to create foreign direct investment. They want to do all of those. But those who are really at the heart of the micro and small and medium scale enterprises are the state and local government. They are the ones that touch the woman that is selling atarodo. They are the ones touching the lives of the woman selling yam. They are the ones touching the lives of market women, artisans altogether. And nobody is really holding these people to account. And that is why poverty is really increasing. They are the ones responsible for primary and secondary education. And to understand that in most states, primary and secondary education are meant to be free. And you still see state government bringing up certain levies. So what's the whole essence of free education when you are bringing up certain levies that parents cannot pay and will eventually keep the kids out of school? States like Oyo, the PDP, and I'm so surprised because it's APC that is known to give free education, but it's this PDP guy in Oyo State that is coming to say, okay, we are going to remove all these levies and then it will be free education. And until we begin to do that, and of recent, the Kano State governor too is trying to do a lot of drive to get students to school, and is even threatening to arrest the parents of any kid that is not going to school. But that would be good, but again, the problem of lack of order in the country where there are no documentations. and you have a lot of stray kids on the street. So who are you going to arrest on the behalf of stray kids? In fact, there's so much in Ibadan right now. There's so much. If you go around the Ota axis of Ogun, between Ogun and Lagos State, so many stray kids there. Who are we going to, that nobody is answerable for, or to? So at the end of the day, a whole lot must be addressed, you know, and we are talking about the egoistic nature of the average Nigerian. And the day I saw that the US president said that America must, that the greatness of America is not because of the government, but because of what the people do for themselves and for one another. And if you tell an average Nigerian today that change begins with me, then he will tell you that Buhari is only running from his responsibility. But little do they know that, of course, government is by some small select group of people, but ultimately government and the direction it goes is determined by the sheer will of all of the citizens. And if we begin to be responsible to our neighbors, it will not be difficult for us to ask the government to be responsible. But because we do not have what is called personal responsibility, we have no idea what it means to be responsible to our neighbor. So we have never had the real moral standing to ask the next and the nearest government to us about the responsibility that they actually do us. But maybe if we start from having personal responsibility to the next neighbor, then we will really understand and have a feel of responsibility. Then we will exactly know what people really do, what the government really do us, and begin to ask for more. But essentially today, people in Nigeria are getting poorer by the day because of the docility of the local and state government, because of the spiraling population where even the little that is being produced is not enough for the population that we have, and we now have developed into a society of winner takes all, of survival of the fittest. And once you look at all these socioeconomic conditions, there is no wonder, little wonder why crime is on the increase. And the way crime has been given an ethnic coloring today, you see people saying Fulani herdsman just because someone was kidnapped. Kidnapping is bad, must be condemned. But we now begin to talk as though the Yoruba kidnappers that we knew, the Ijaw kidnappers that we knew, the Igbo kidnappers, those who were kidnapping in the southeast 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, all of them suddenly drop their weapons and they say, hey, Rankadede, the Fulani kidnappers are here, we are going to bow to them. We just certainly do that. We start pretending like every crime that is taking place is committed by one tribe. That is bad, and we must speak against that too. That is bigotry in all of its essence. And I don't care if you're a pastor, if you're a Christian, if no matter where you're from, if you are doing that, you are a bigot. We must condemn crime. We must never put religion or ethnic coloration to crime. It must not be done. It should not be done. Ultimately, what are we saying? That the governments that are nearest to us, everything that is nearest to us, are what is responsible for what we feel directly in terms of poverty or in terms of wealth. And so it must start with us, then gets to the local and then to the state government. And eventually, the federal government, of course, has a lot to do in terms of policy and even the macroeconomy. So this is BAMISAYE Victor, and I hope to see you guys next week. I will let DSA have the last words on the show tonight, and it's goodbye from me.
Yeah, that book that was there with you is called Poverty Mindset versus Abundance Mindset. It's going to be a good book for everyone. You don't have to be in Africa to enjoy this book, and it will blow your mind and it will set you free. But my latest book is not this one. You can get this one and read it on all my books. You can read them for free on Kindle Unlimited, or you can buy them on Amazon, or you could go to, if you are in Africa, you can buy them on dsabooksplanet.com. But this is my latest book. It's called Ladies, Forget About Marriage, Build Your Life, which means build your life before you think of marriage. Then you will not be shortchanged in life. You will be able to stand on your feet. And there is another book there, The Nigerian Economy, The Way Forward. maybe you are wondering, how can Nigeria economy really, what can we do with Nigeria economy? You read the book. In fact, this is the book that Mayowa read and said, yes, I see hope about Nigeria and I'm ready to contribute and go to Nigeria. This book will really blow your mind. You will discover that not everything is lost yet. And if we can follow the principles that are in this book, Nigeria will come into the top 10 economies in the world. So, yeah, expand your scope, expand your knowledge, expand your... there's another book that I wrote. It's called You Are Born to Make Your Nation Great. You can look for that as well. You Are Born to Make Your Nation Great. It will be a huge blessing to you too. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you in the next 10 minutes. I will be teaching on understanding service and stewardship as the meaning of life. Peace.